Hello, stupid.
Hello, Sanya.
Hi, Tama. You know what I just remembered? My sister last night was making fun of how you do your intros.
Really?
And she's
That's
like,
funny.
now whenever I want to say your name, I want to say, hello, Sonia.
That's funny. I was just thinking, why does the burden of opening the episode always fall on me?
Because I remember we tried to do different and my
And you
lips
just
wouldn't
choke.
stop bleeding. Yeah, we just couldn't do
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, no, this is it. This is us.
This is us. This is us now.
And
I
I think we need
get
to keep it
the.
for consistency's sake because I changed my
you're,
background so much.
you're so full of shit. Wow, fine. I'll keep making a fool of myself every opening of episodes.
I like it. I'm
Yeah,
going to record my
I bet
sister
you
doing
do.
it. She does it so badly.
Yeah. I want to
She kind
hear
of does it with an Indian accent. She's like, hello,
it. You did the head bop
yeah,
also?
obviously. You can't do the Indian accent
Obviously.
without it.
How are you? Your sister's in town.
I know I'm
My best friend.
yeah, your bestie. I'm yeah, exhausted, but having so much fun. My sister's here for 2 weeks. Um Today, poor girl, like she's been here 4 times. It's her fourth time, I think.
Hmm.
And she'd had perfect weather every single time. So when people were like, Vancouver weather is so rainy, she's like, I don't get it. And now she's like just raining the whole time.
Oh, no.
But like my nephew's here with her, so her 3-year-old. I was gonna say
Yeah.
our 3-year-old. So he's having so much fun. We took him to the aquarium. There's a bird conservation here. Yeah, and then right
And you know
now,
what? It kind of forces you to like stay in and spend quality time and bonding time together.
exactly. But today I was like, hey, I gotta record you. I gotta get out of the house. And she was like, where am I going? Because it's like raining. Um, so I gave her option of like the cafe down the street or the playroom we have in our amenities room, and she's like, I'll go to the playroom with my nephew. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm not recording my usual spot because that's my spare bedroom and they're staying there. And I like walked in to like start recording and I was like, no, this is like a cleaning job. Like I can't do this.
It's too chaotic.
So I'm in my dining room.
Very cute. And for those of you on video, you can see the sign that I always roast Sanya for. The very live, laugh, love inspired, where fast lives slow down.
Yeah. But thank you for saying it right. Everyone goes, where fast lives, slow down. And I'm like, it's
Yeah.
lives, lives.
Where fast lives slow down. I like it better like that.
And we have it above our bar. So it's like, take a drink, slow down.
Yeah. Very cute.
How have you
Yeah.
been?
I've been okay. I've missed you, honestly. You've been unable, like,
Aw.
I haven't been able to talk to you in like 2 weeks outside of recording episodes because you've been so busy and away, and then you have people in town. So I miss you. I feel like I haven't spoke with you in a long time. We're way overdue for gossip.
I know. I get like texts from Toma every now and then with like groundbreaking news.
Yeah.
But then I reply too late, so then I think the passion is gone. So then he'll just be like, you missed it. And like
Yeah,
he gives
I'm
me like
over
a fit
it.
out version of it.
I was really passionate about it for about 5 minutes, and you did answer my call. So,
We'll do a little gossip sesh today for sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm
But
excited for what you have today.
yeah, me too. Actually, I think it's going to be a fun one. It's
Oh,
different for me.
and I think we have to talk about today, April 26th. We record in advance, guys, like 2 weeks in advance.
Hmm.
But it is Justin's birthday.
Oh, it is. Happy birthday, Justin! A little Taurus.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going for dinner tonight. I still haven't picked a place or made reservations, so I'm
Oh,
excited towards that. But no, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, and then we have a little party tomorrow. It's gonna be nice. So we're actually gonna like receive people in the park across from our place.
Fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
you've summer there already now, and I'm back in spring weather.
yeah, I think it's gonna be like 19 degrees tomorrow
Oh,
Celsius.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, you should take him to that place in Montreal that I sent you.
You'll have to
Um,
send it to me again.
yeah. I kind of wanted to go there. It looks really cool. And it's like a high-end restaurant, but that they have like, budget items ish too. Not budget,
Nice.
but it's not like
You know
breaking
me
the
so
bank.
well.
Yeah.
My
Because I'm
first
just
budget. How
saying.
much is it?
Yeah. I was booking, we're taking my sister to the island and we're like making rezos. And I was like, no, this is $3 signs. We can only do up to $2 signs. Or like you
Too
could do
funny.
$3 signs every once in a while, but
You
that's
mean
when
like
you
on Google the little
yeah.
like a star rating system, but with dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um yeah.
I only go to one
I
or
don't
none.
even McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this
Uh,
economy, the things we got to do.
I know. So I do have a lot to get into today. So should we go in to your icebreaker before we start?
Yeah, I'm ready. So, my icebreaker for today is texting or calling. Give reasons.
Oh my god. Interesting question. It really depends who, and I feel like I'm changing a lot.
Mhm.
I much prefer calling or voice notes now versus texting.
Okay, this is why I picked it because you've been throwing me a lot of voice notes lately.
Oh yeah, I can't be bothered with simplifying stories and texts or whatever. I'm not going to call if I need to know like your address or at what time we're meeting or something like that. But yeah, no, I think I prefer voice notes, and lately I'm very much into calling.
Yeah, I mean, I have my calling friends that I
Hmm.
call. I don't call non-calling friends.
Hmm.
But like with my non-calling friends, it's like we text a lot, but it's like major things we wait till I meet you in person and break to you. You
Right.
know?
Well,
Um
not me because we call each other a lot.
yeah, exactly. I like
Yeah.
sorry, to them, the figure trip to
Yeah.
you. I love and like I love a friend that I can there's like also have like groups of friends that there's like my calling friends, but there's my friends that I have to set up a call with.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
You're a friend that I
Yeah.
just call anytime and you're busy, you don't pick up, you're free, you
Yeah.
pick up. But there's those friends I don't call them randomly, but I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
let's call tomorrow night. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I think I am much more of a caller now. I think like in the last recent years, the COVID world I think changed me. Pre-COVID, I was more a texter.
I feel like for me, moving around so much and living further from people made me want to call them more
Hmm.
because I don't get to see them as often, maybe just to talk about these things and to like keep that bond alive.
Yeah.
But no, I only text jokes. I don't really text anything important.
Yeah, same. I'm not a huge texter. I'm actually becoming those people that take 3 to 5 days to respond to text.
Oh, same. Yeah, it's so annoying, and
I
I
look at it right
apologize to
away and then I
everyone. But
forget.
yeah,
Yeah, same.
exactly. Um,
Um,
and then what I'll do sometimes on our shared Instagram account for the podcast, I'll go look at the text or the message, a DM, and I don't feel like replying to it. So I'll just mark it as unread so that you can go to it and reply to it sometime.
no way. I never knew you did that.
Yeah.
I just felt like you never checked it that much. So,
Well,
um,
I mean, for two reasons. First, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I would have to consult you on this and stuff like that. And because you kind of take the lead with social media also, that I don't want to overstep also. And I'm
uh,
like, okay, I'm going to leave it, but I'm still curious. I want to go see.
um, that's so funny. Yeah, I never know when I'm replying to people though on our like Instagram, in our shared Instagram to be like, hey, this is Sanya, or this is like just
Yeah.
I'm like, do people know who they're talking to?
They, does it matter? We're
Yeah,
basically the same person.
I know it's so true. Now I'm gonna start messaging people pretending to be you.
Yeah. How would you do that? What's your opener? That sounds very much like me.
Like if someone, like if one of your friends message, I just be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That's so
Think that
funny,
one
friend.
through.
So typical of you. And then they'll think it's me.
Yeah, so typical of you, friend. Emoji.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough of that nonsense. Um, this episode, so like you said, this is the very important national observance of Justin's birthday, the 26th, as we're recording. However, this episode is released on the 9th of May, which is right on the heels. No, the heels? Yeah. Is the heels
Toes.
before or after on the toes? I
On the
don't
toe.
know.
No, heels, heels. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Right on the heels of Mother's Day,
Oh,
which
fun.
is the as you hear this coming Sunday. So hurry up, people! You still have a chance to go buy a card for your mom.
Yeah. Now
Um,
it just hit me. Where I'm like Mother's Day, and I was like,
yeah,
oh wait, no, it's next month. We're recording a
yeah.
lot in advance.
May 12th on Sunday.
Perfect.
Um, do you celebrate Mother's Day in your family?
Yep. Me and my sister usually buy like a shared present for my parents or for my mom or my father, like depending on the day, Mother's Day. Or like we'll take her out for like facials or dinner or lunch or something.
Oh, cute.
Um, and actually this year I'll be in Toronto for Mother's Day. I like planned a thing around it and yeah, excited to see my mama.
Oh,
There,
cute.
it's so funny you're bringing this up because I currently miss my mom. She's on a cruise, um,
Oh,
and it's like 5 days of crossing the transatlantic ocean. They're going from Florida to Portugal.
yeah.
So they have like they didn't buy the Wi-Fi on the cruise package. So this is 5 days without speaking to my mom, which is a big deal for me. I talk to my
Really?
mom every day. Now it's getting a bit more every other day. And like if I don't call her, like there'll be a text usually. So yeah.
Interesting.
Am I gonna
Aw.
cry? Is this episode
Me?
emotional?
Oh,
No.
you? Why would I cry? Oh, no, you would cry. Yeah, I miss your mom too. That's Anyways, so because yeah, it's the Mother's Day, I thought we might do a little theme episode. Now, I was very, very tempted to ruin Mother's Day for everyone and maybe do something on how like Mother's Day is a very commercial holiday designed to make people spend money. Um, but I decided not to be a downer this time,
Okay. I'm
and
scared. What is this?
instead, I thought I'll talk about something my mom likes.
Aw, that's so cute.
Yeah. And something that's also kind of spring related. And just that makes me think of my mom a lot, which is tulips.
Oh,
Yeah,
cute.
my
And that
mom
does remind me of
love
Mother's Day.
it. Well, yeah, because they're spring flowers, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and my mom loves tulips. She plants them like every year in her front yard. They should actually be blooming any day now if they haven't bloomed already. I don't know. Like I think it's around May
Yeah.
usually. And she also really likes history. She's a huge history buff.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the history of tulips.
Sorry, this is so wholesome.
I
This is so cute. This is the
know.
cutest thing you've done ever, I think, on the podcast.
And it's also going to be very interesting. I think you'll be surprised at how much there is a lot to say on this.
Okay.
But out of curiosity, if you had to pick an episode topic based on something your mom likes, what would it be?
Oh my God. Maybe birds? My mom loves birds.
Is she like a
I'm
bird
blanking.
watcher?
I'm like, what is my mom? I like, yeah, they love their birds. They have like, they used to have birds actually. When me and my sister moved out the same year, they went through a midlife crisis and got birds.
Really? Birds are so loud.
Yeah, it was very annoying when I came home. I was like, you made me move out for this. Um, no, my parents also like they have like bird feeders and stuff, and they had like birds come, and there was this one that had like a check mark on it, so they called it Nike.
Oh my god.
Um, and then during COVID, I think for Mother's Day, actually, I bought my mom like a bird finding book.
You're watching.
Watching, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like running out of things. My mom likes, yeah, birds. She likes a
Yeah.
lot of things, but I'll stick to birds.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and I
But
did a pigeon episode.
you did a pitch episode. Wow, that was so loud.
Sorry.
Sorry for the spike in audio, everyone. There is a pigeon episode if you want to go back to episode. Oh my god, I don't know which episode it is.
I don't know. It's the pigeon episode. You'll find it.
It's one of my favorite episodes. It's really
It's one
fun.
of my favorites too. It's funny. My sister's rubbing off on me. So my sister's very high pitched and loud, and she
Yeah.
screams like that, and my like ears actually rattle, and I'm like, whoa! I channel my inner Sonam.
All right, so let's talk about tulips a little bit. What do you know about tulips?
Not much.
Okay,
I know
perfect.
they come in like different colors,
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
good.
beautiful. Yeah, and that's
They
about
are
it.
cute. Personally, they're not my favorite. I feel like they lack complexity a little bit.
Okay.
Like tulips are very easy to draw. I
Yeah.
feel like they're like if you describe a flower to someone, like tulips is like the default shape. I like something a little bit more complex and maybe,
So, what's your
it's
favorite
like
flower?
I don't know. I don't know flowers names. But do you know what's your favorite flower? Do you have a favorite flower?
Sunflower.
Sunflower? Oh,
Yeah.
that's an easy one.
No,
It is
because
cute
like
though.
they're very complex because they have sunflower seeds in the whole in
Oh
like the
yeah, the
middle part.
pattern is
Yeah.
really cool on sunflowers. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tulip is like one stick with a five petals at the top kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But they are considered to be very very pretty, and I'm like they are very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
They are spring blooming perennial herbaceous bulbiferous geophytes in the Tulipa genus.
Cool.
Do you know what perennial means?
Seasonal?
So
That was
yeah,
just
so
a wild guess. Like that was a throw in the.
not quite. It's like they live more than 2 years, so they will bloom again every year.
Okay, so it's close-ish. They
Yeah,
bloom every season.
yeah.
Not every
So
season.
like half a point.
Yearly. Annual. Annually. There.
So annuals actually are the ones that die out and they won't rebloom the next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Whereas perennial, you technically don't have to replant them; they will keep blooming.
Mm-hmm.
Which I actually thought tulips were annual because my mom does have to replant them every year.
Mm-hmm.
But as it turns out, that's mostly because of squirrels. Because
Oh
squirrels will go
no.
dig up the bulb and eat them,
Yeah.
which started a huge war on squirrels for my mom, and she's like it's her arch enemy. Her latest purchase is like these water turrets that like auto seek squirrels and like find squirrels and like shoot water on them.
That's
They're like
so
they're like seeking
funny.
towers. Yeah.
When you said they caused a huge war on squirrels, I thought you were going to talk about the history, and then you're like, for my mom. And I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah, yeah. Right. Well, I mean, for other people too, someone invented and selling those turrets. But
yeah.
the tulip flowers are usually large and brightly colored. Uh, Generally, they're red, orange, pink, yellow, or white, but never blue. You can't have any blue tulips. It's just not a thing.
Okay.
There's about 75 species, and they are divided among four subgenera. Um, while tulips can be bred to display a variety of colors, black tulips have historically been very difficult to achieve. There's a breed called the Queen of the Night tulip, which is very close to black, but not actually black. It's kind of a glossy maroonish purple,
No, that sounds pretty.
but it's a very prized variety, a bit like Pride of the Dutch kind of variety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first truly black tulip was bred in 1986, 1986 by a Dutch flower grower in Bovenkarspel in the Netherlands. Um, So tulips, they how they work is that they have a bulb underground, and they sprout out of that, and then when they die, they kind of retreat into the bulb.
Oh.
Yeah. So they originated in Central Asia. That's where they're from natively.
No.
Um,
No way.
yeah, in mountain ranges, two mountain range in particular. The Tian Shan mountain range that runs along the northwest of China and meets the premier mountains of Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. So these two mountain ranges, they kind of form a barrier of thousands of miles long and hundreds of miles wide.
Mm-hmm.
And the terrain is really not good for crops. In the summer, it's way too hot, and in the winter, it's way too cold. Um, but the tulips were able to adapt to this weather. So in the winter, they hide underground in the bulb, and then in the spring, they will come out of the bulb and bloom for just a few weeks because then summer rolls around and it's very very hot. So they die down and retreat back into the bulb.
Oh.
Hmm. So thousands of years ago, that area was populated by nomad tribes. Nomad tribes,
Nomad, yeah, you got it.
which helped the migration of the tulips to the west. Um, these are largely Islamic lands, and in that religion, paradise was often imagined as a garden full of beautiful flowers. So, for that reason, the tulips became venerated in the early Islamic period.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in addition to being beautiful and elegant when it's bloom, like the head, the flower kind of like is a little bit bowed, which
Yeah, I've
also,
noticed.
right, they're like kind of a little bit bloop.
Mm-hmm. It's
Um,
not like they're straight up the whole time. Like I think after they've reached a point of growing, they kind of hunch over.
a little bit, yeah, which symbolize like holiness and obedience in Islam.
No way. It's
Yeah.
cool.
So of the tribes that carried the tulips west, the most significant ones were the Turks. I did not know this, but originally the Turks were nomadic people. So they didn't settle into Turkey until around the 11th century.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So they venerated tulips, and so they brought the tulips to the west, and so they as nomads who survived the like harsh Asian winters themselves. They saw the flowers blooming in the spring as a sign of resilience and endurance, and kind of like a reward for their survival through the winter, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Turkish word for tulip is lale, I think, which actually use the same letters as the word hala for God,
Oh, okay.
right? So I feel like I'm rushing through this. I've got very excited and I'm going very fast. Are you
No,
following?
I feel like it's been good.
Great. Um, let's talk about the etymology a little bit because you know I love words and their origin. So in Western Europe, the word tulip was first used around um, the year 1554 in letters from Ogier Ghislain de Busbeck, which was a Flemish diplomat in the Ottoman Empire.
Sorry, what kind of diplomat?
Flemish.
Where's
Um,
Flemish? What is
it's like
Flemish?
they it's shoot. I should have this prepared.
No, that's okay.
I Flemish. The Flemish people, or Flemings, are a Germanic group native to Flanders, Belgium, who speak Flemish Dutch. Flemish people make up the majority of Belgians, and they live all across that area in Europe.
Okay, I've never heard of Flemish people before.
Yeah, it's in Belgium they'll speak French or Flemish.
Hmm.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that at all. I didn't even know Flemish was a language.
Yeah, I think it's Flemish. I know in French it's completely different. So, but I think it's Flemish, the
Let's
name of the
see.
language.
Imagine we were just making something up.
I'm not.
Flemish
Wow, the
people, no, found it, found
face.
it. Yeah.
I
I don't
literally
know why
just read you the.
Flemish just seems fake to me. Why have I never heard of this?
I know. I'll
Why
try
am I
reading a
acting like I've
book
heard of a lot
sometime.
of things? Yeah.
This podcast is called "Tell Me Like I'm
Yeah.
Stupid," so maybe
I'm
just
gonna do an
shut up and
episode on
learn.
Flemish one day. Yeah.
So, anyways, this diplomat in letters back to Europe from the Ottoman Empire used the word tulipan, which he got from Ottoman Turkish word for turban.
Oh.
Now, he stated that the Turks used the word tulipan to describe the flower. Um, but as you may remember, the word for tulip in Turkish is lale, right? So we think that it kind of got lost in translation. Why he said that it was called tulipan. Um, there's he thought that they called it like that because they kind of looked like turbans, the flowers, like the head of the
Ish.
flowers, and
Yeah.
he thought they called it like that because of the resemblance to the headpiece. But in
Oh.
fact, back then it was very fashionable to decorate your turban with tulips. So it's possible
Oh.
they were just referring to their turbans,
Oh, interesting.
right? It's disputed though, because it's complicated. But in the letters, he was referring to the Turks, and back then, the huge Turks was used to describe also Hungarians.
Oh, interesting.
And Ogier traveled through Hungary and even used a Hungarian guide. And in Hungarian, the word for tulip is tulipan.
Interesting.
So that's a possibility also. And the origin of the word in Hungarian would have been from an Indo-Aryan reference, like kind of a mix of the word tala, which means bottom or underground, and
Hmm.
pana, which means defense. And it would be like a symbol of resurrection.
Oh.
So lots of speculation over the actual origin of the word in
Hmm.
Western Europe.
Hmm.
Um,
I like tulipan.
but tulipan's cute, eh? I know I like it too. Or even like tulipa. First, at first it was called tulipa, and then eventually became tulips.
I like
Tulipa's a pretty word.
tulipa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be a pretty name also.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Dua Lipa.
I know I was thinking the same. Maybe it's just that why. That's the only
Tulipa.
reason though. Yeah. So tulips are today obviously, well, for most people, I don't know if you have that association, but are associated with the Netherlands a lot, and they're
Yeah.
kind of like the pride of the Dutch, right?
Yeah.
Um, they are today a major Dutch export and a significant part of the farming economy countrywide in the Netherlands.
Wow.
Yeah. In Holland, the Keukenhof Gardens is don't ask me to say that again. Is one of the biggest tourist draws in the country, attracting 1.2 million visitors annually to the expensive, beautiful gardens of tulips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. However, tulips have a lot of significance in other cultures as well.
Hmm.
So in Iran, Iran, sorry,
Oh, I thought you were
uh,
saying Ireland.
no, Iran. In I don't know what's up with me today. I'm like jittery. Oh, probably too much coffee.
Yeah, I'm like, how many coffees have you had?
Just a few. So in Iran, for example, the celebration of Persian New Year or Nowruz. dates back to over 3,000 years ago, and it marks the advent of spring.
Mm.
Tulips are used to decorate features during the festivities. A 6th century legend, similar to Romeo and Juliet, tells of tulips sprouting where the blood of the young prince Farad spilled after he killed himself when he heard that his true love had apparently died. But it's like Romeo and Juliet. She wasn't really dead, but he thought he was dead, so he killed himself. And
Oh.
then the legend says that tulips bloomed there.
Oh my God.
Um,
I love
so
stories like
the
that.
I know it's beautiful, especially like I love the idea of like flowers blooming out of a bloodstain.
Yeah.
It's something that comes back every now and then, and I love that imagery. Tulips in Iran are the national symbol of uh, martyrs. Martyrs, is that how you say it?
Martyrs?
Martyrs. Thank you.
Yeah.
This word, martyrs.
Yeah, I believe it's martyr.
Okay.
You're asking the wrong person. Just stupid telling the other stupid how to say words and mispronouncing them.
So it's the national symbol of martyrs, which is actually very important because in it was a common symbol used in the 1979 Islamic Revolution,
Hmm.
and a red tulip adorned the flag redesigned in 1980. The tulip also became a symbol of protest against the Iranian government after the presidential election of 2009, when millions turned out on the street to protest the re-election of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Sorry. Um, After the protests were harshly suppressed, the Iranian Green Movement adopted the tulip as a symbol of their struggle. So it's a very powerful symbol for them.
Hmm.
Now in Turkey, we already spoke about it a little bit, but the tulip is a symbol of paradise on earth and has almost a divine status. Um, in contrast, in the Netherlands, it represents the briefness of life. So for them, it's more like eternal life and paradise on earth. But um, in Netherlands, it's more briefness of life. And in
Hmm.
Christianity, tulips symbolize passion, belief, and love. So white tulip would be a sign for forgiveness, and purple tulip represent royalty, which are both important aspects of Easter. So they're a big Easter symbol also in Christianity.
Yeah, I feel like you know what? It's so funny because like bringing up tulips, I'm like, oh, I didn't like think of many things associated with it, and like as you say everything, I'm like, oh yeah, tulips is actually like a big
And
flower, you know.
kind of like a very universal symbol.
Hmm. It might be
Um,
just like the pastel colors that it comes in too.
Also, I think the fact that they're easy to draw.
You're still low key trying to roast tulips.
But no, I think the the fact that they grow in a very harsh area, and that they grow in spring, it's very symbolic. It carries a lot of meaning, right? It's very poetic and inspiring, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'll come back to the Netherlands though. There's much more to say about tulips there. But first, some fun fact about the plant. Well, not so fun actually, because tulips are actually poisonous to domestic animals, including horse, cats, and dogs.
Well, yeah, I'm like cats are like every animal or every plant is allergic. Cats are. Oh my god, my English. Every plant is toxic towards cats. Like I just went to the nursery, bought so many plants, and half of them are toxic towards my cat, and she loves
Yeah,
eating my plants.
yeah, yeah. Cats cannot eat.
Cats
Like
suck.
it's
I'm kidding.
yeah. Cats are allergic to everything.
Yeah.
But tulips ingestion in small amounts in cats can induce vomiting, depression, which I was like, what? Diarrhea, hypersalivation, and irritation of the mouth and throat.
Aw.
I
Yeah.
know. And in large amount, it can cause abdominal pains, tremors, tachycardia, convulsions, tachypnea, um, a bunch of other things, and eventually coma.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, you should bring your cat to the vet if they ingest tulips. So,
No tulips in my house.
right? Which I feel like, but they're in every gardens, you know. But I guess cats are just not attracted to eating them,
Yeah, hopefully they realize.
right? Or maybe that's why they're depressed in the spring.
Well, I feel like outdoor cats are a bit more like smarter than indoor cats from what I think. Like outdoor cats won't go in there eating tulips in like a tulip field. But if you bring the one tulip in your home, your indoor cats will be like, "Ooh, what is this?" and try and eat it.
Maybe it's because outdoor they'll find the plants that they like to eat, whereas in your
Yeah,
home, like they're very limited in what plant they
true.
can eat.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a thought. Tulips are also peculiar in their ability to grow after being cut, which is not given to every flower.
Yeah.
So they continue their development and they can grow by an inch or even more after being cut. So in a
Nice.
vase, right?
Yeah. Oh, in
And
a
they also
vase, so not even rooted.
no, in a
Oh,
vase.
cool. Kind of like spring onions.
Yeah, but spring onions have a root, whereas if you cut tulips, they don't have a root. It's just
Oh,
the
that's
stem,
cool. Yeah.
right? And they exhibit something called phototropism, which is turning and bending towards the light. So if you have tulips in a vase, you have to rotate your vase often because they'll start bending and leaning towards the light source.
I like the little imagery you did there. Bend like a tulip.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm a tulip sometimes. I love leaning towards the light and just like
Leaning
caught.
towards the light. Just like slowly leaning towards the light. Also, tulip bulbs are edible,
Hmm.
and they were consumed during periods of famine, like during the Second World War, for example, in the Netherlands.
Oh, wow. So like
Yeah,
humans can eat tulip
yeah,
bulbs. Wow.
yeah.
Wonder what they
They're
taste
not known
like.
to be very flavorful,
Okay.
and they don't have much nutritional value. Um,
They just won't
but
kill
they
you.
were, yeah, and they were a vital source of like sustenance at that time, where everything was like in rarity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the petals are often used still today as garnishing for meals,
Oh, okay.
right? So that's the fun facts I had about tulips. But I have a wild ride of a story to share also.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the history of tulips in the Netherlands. So by the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire was firmly established and dominant power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right on Europe's doorstep, Western powers stationed diplomats there,
Mm-hmm.
and it will also receive like some tourism and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was going to say shout out, but I don't know if you can shout out an episode. But go listen to our episode on diplomatic immunity if you want to know more about um,
Shout out
the
to
use of
us.
diplomats to read. Shout out to us.
Yeah.
Shout out to me. It was an episode I hosted also.
Yeah.
Shout myself
No,
out.
you're fine. I always shout out my pigeon episode. I think every episode.
Yeah. um, so these men in the Ottoman Empire that were sent there by Western Europeans would have seen tulips and images of tulips all over Istanbul because the Ottoman empire, like as we discussed in the Turks, it was like a symbol of divine and of paradise on earth. So the Sultan had a huge tulip garden, and people veneered those tulips, and it was a symbol of royalty also. So then they were painted everywhere. They were embroidered everywhere. Um, so it would have been through these travelers that the first bulb were probably introduced through Europe's. And by the 1550s, the flowers would have been spotted in Augsburg, in Venice, and in Prague. In Amsterdam, the story is that a Flemish merchant received a shipment of cloth from Istanbul,
Mhm.
And with his shipment was an extra little package as a gift, a box that he believed to be Turkish onions. Um,
Oh.
he had
They were
his,
tulips.
yeah, there were tulip bulbs, but he thought they were like, oh, these are strange little onions. So he had his servant cook them for dinner, and he liked the taste so much that he decided to plant the rest of them so that he could keep growing them. Now, nothing happened for a month, but in the spring, to his surprise, tulips started popping up in his garden. Now he invited his horticulturist. Oh, I'm going to try one more time, then I'm moving on. Horticulturist friend called Carolus Clusius to see the tulips. And this guy took great interest in the flower and showed the flower to a bunch of his flower nerds friends. And everyone was really excited by them. Now, interestingly enough, this guy Carolus Clusius became one of like the biggest horticulturists of the time.
Sorry, the name and his profession. It's
I
just,
know.
I'm like, I feel like you're saying the right word, but at the same time, I feel like you're not.
I know. Why do I always do like history episodes? Like they're so difficult.
It's fine. Even when we don't, we struggle.
Yeah. Now, this period of time was very prosperous times in the Netherlands.
Mhm.
So, at the turn of the 17th century, the Netherlands gained independence from Spain. Um, Starting in the 1560s, merchant began arriving in port cities like Haarlem, Amsterdam, and Delft. Um, and they established big trading outposts like the famous Dutch East Indian Company, which traded in spice and other importations through sea. Now, this led to an explosion of international level and brought the Netherlands a lot of fortune. So, I won't go more into the Dutch East Indian Company, but it's actually really, really interesting. It could be a whole episode, and it might be one day. But this is kind of what shaped capitalism as we know it today. This period of time with these specific merchants. Um, it's a long story, but what's important to notice for our story is that for the first time in history, the regular public was able to buy shares of big company, like the big East Indian Company. So it was kind of like the first stock market
That's
in
cool.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that, economy grew greatly, and people's desire for expanding into new areas of natural history and exotic grew with it. And thanks to Carolus Clausius' work, the tulip rose to a level of admiration and honor. So we start seeing like all the elements lining up for tulips becoming a very luxury product in the Netherlands. You still have no idea where I'm going with this, do you?
I'm like waiting
You've
for
never
the,
heard about?
yeah, I'm waiting for like the, like
Yeah, yeah,
the
it's coming. It's coming.
twist.
Yeah, no, it's just like it's not. I feel like some people heard of this story a lot because it's kind of a. But
Oh,
okay, I'm excited. Okay, great.
is this general knowledge?
Maybe.
Let us know if you have in comments on our Instagram post.
So tulips became quickly a very profitable market, and tulips bulbs, right?
Hmm.
The supply of tulips was limited in itself, which meant that you could charge high prices. They also grew slowly, which added to the limited supply. So once the bulb is at maturity, it will do a tulip every year that will come out and retreat, but it can take up to 7 years before it reaches that maturity
Oh, wow.
with just the seeds, right? So um, you had to set the bulbs down in winter to see them bloom in the spring before selling them. Um, and the other thing is that you can achieve a lot of customization with tulips. So you can make different colors by crossbreeding them, or even with some basic like alchemy, you can create new colors and patterns. For example, you could break tulips, and they use the term break for tulips, um, which is basically corrupting them, often with viruses, but it creates these beautiful, like flame like patterns on the petals.
I think I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are really
Um,
cool. Like I saw like a
it's
red and orange or yellow one.
mhm. So that became super, super popular and super rare because they're kind of hard to break. People would like splice bulbs together. So use a bulb of one that's infected with a half of a bulb of one that's not. Um, and also like growing them in pigeon poop and stuff like that to try to break them. Um, Today, I don't think people do that much anymore. It's kind of frowned upon because you don't want to propagate viruses through crops and genomes and generations. Um, but all of this contributed to elevating the tulip to a very high level of luxury.
Mhm.
The rarity and the weight made them even more desirable for the wealthy class, right? And it's kind of like a throwaway product. Like they're expensive, but they bloom for a week in the year, and you can't do anything much with flower. Like people don't really eat them or anything. So it's kind of like very much of a display of wealth and of status, right? Um, you also did not need a lot of land to grow them. You can grow tulips in your backyard, right? And then you sell the bulbs in the summer after they bloomed.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, even people who didn't own a yard would rent a small patch of garden from a landowner, of someone who had like a backyard, to grow some tulips. Now, because it's a luxury product and that you're trying to convince people that yours are prettier than competitors, you have to be able to show them, right? But they only bloom for like a week or two during the year. So buyers would travel a lot during those weeks to see all the sellers' gardens and see the tulips that they like, and then purchase the bulb from them after the tulip retreats back into the ground.
Oh.
And then you can purchase the bulb and replant the bulb, right?
Mhm.
So that's how it was done for a while, but it was also very limiting because you didn't necessarily have the chance to go see or to display your flowers during that short period of time, right? So people started commissioning artists, painters to paint books of all their flowers, and they had books of hundreds of tulips that like became like catalogs. So you can see there's a whole market, kind of the whole economy already kind of growing around the sale of tulips.
Mhm.
Okay, so say you had seen the tulip in a book and want to buy it, but the bulb is not ready to be collected yet. You had to wait for it to reach maturity and to bloom before you can buy it. But this is a very famous tulip grower, and you know that his tulips grow in this color that you want, and they have the break that you want. So you want it from him. So what you do is that the sellers started creating future contracts for which you pay a deposit on a flower that hasn't bloomed yet, and then once it blooms and go back into a bulb in a few spring or the spring later, you go to purchase it.
Is this like tulip pre-sales?
Yeah, kind of.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a contract saying that you're owed this amount of bulbs, that you've made this down payment, and that you owe the person you bought the contract to this amount of money,
Mhm.
right? Um, I just got lost in my notes a little bit. Okay. Now, tulip merchants started meeting in. They were like huge, like tulip geeks, right? So they started meeting in bars with their books and their bulbs to trade tulips, and um, they were like collectors clubs, like people who meet to go like conventions or whatever, go meet to trade Pokemon cards or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would go trade those, and then they would sell their tulips to regular people who actually just wanted flowers.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting part here is that they would meet in bars, um, and on each sale, you had um, like a fee that was added to the sale, like a small percentage, like 1 or 2% that was added to the percentage, and that fee, that little profit was it was kind of like a wine fee, and it was put immediately towards buying wine and food for everyone in the bar,
That's wild.
right? So everyone would, every time the sales being made, people would drink all together even more and celebrate that a sale was made
For
and get a little bit
tulips.
drunk. Yeah,
Yeah, that's so
and get a little
funny.
bit drunk, which is a fun environment to spend your money, right?
Yeah. And then you buy more tulips.
Yeah. So a lot of those future contracts were being drawn up, and then people started realizing that they could also just sell the contract to another merchant for profit. So, say you bought 5 bulb for $100
Mm-hmm.
from a grower that only has those 5 bulbs, and that they're very reputed, right? They're very prized grower.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the other merchant who didn't make it to that convention, or who you outbid, you can be like, hey, I have this contract. I'm entitled to those bulbs. Buy the contract from me for $200. And then,
Resales.
yeah. So he makes on that contract, he resell, he makes a profit of $100.
Yeah.
Now, don't forget that no one has collected those flowers yet. Those
Mm-hmm.
flowers still have to be collected and then sold. But the person who bought the contract for even more expensive is confident that he can make a greater profit by selling the tulips, right?
That's insane. And it's like, it's not like construction where you can like build it. It's tulips, it's growing. It depends on the tulip.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like um, creating this whole inflation of the price of the flowers,
Yeah.
because now people are like, wait a second, those future contracts, you can make a lot of profit by selling them.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to start coming in the thing. And at first, it was just those like very geeky tulip merchants that would meet up together, but it was always open to the entire public. So
Mm-hmm.
now they tell some friends like, hey, I made a lot of profits like that. These friends start coming to the meeting, and more people start coming and buying contracts and selling contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So now at these conventions, people are not just selling bulbs, they're also selling contracts to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making a lot of profit of these contracts. So the contracts are going for much higher, which means that the price of the flower itself, the tulips, have to be much higher so that you can make profit from that contract that you bought to at an inflated price.
Mm-hmm. Insane.
So that goes on for a while. Um, the more buyers, yeah, meant the higher the price of the bulb and the higher the profit. It's what people refer to today as the tulip mania. And at its height, a buyer could spend 21,000 guilders on a flower, which would be enough to buy 2 large canal houses in Amsterdam.
Wow.
Um, in a
Hot
single,
commodity.
oh yeah, for tulips, right? In a single auction, a total of 70 lots of tulips, which is about 100 bulbs, sold for over 90,000 guilders. In today's money, that would be about 6 to 15 million euros, not dollars,
Stop
euros.
it.
Yeah,
That's
6 to 15 million
insane.
euros for about 100 flowers.
Imagine, like, yeah, that's like, I don't even know that, like, there is another flower that's worth that much in this day.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Yeah.
So, what do you think happens from there?
Now, I don't know, it just becomes so common and it
So
falls
now,
in value. People realize how basic it is.
well, not. because it's basic. But what happens is people are selling future contracts of these tulips and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
these contracts are going for so high, which is brings the price of individual flowers really, really high.
Mhm.
So the tulip price became so high that people who actually wanted the flowers can't afford them anymore. So
Oh yeah.
people stop being buying the tulips. The only thing that's being sold is contracts between buyers, but no one's buying the tulips.
Oh, because yeah, the price is going up and up, so the everyday person's like, I don't want this anymore. I can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So then in February of 1637, um, the regular traders will meet again in a Harlem tavern. And their first lot of tulips is offered for about uh, uh, 1,250 guilders. Now, something new and unusual happens. No one bids for it. So then the price drops. Okay, how about 1,100 guilders? Nope.
And now that like
1,000?
there's no sales, people are like questioning the demand, you know?
Well, now there's no sales, and everyone who has all these bulbs and contracts of tulips are seeing that the first one is not able to sell. So I was like, holy Christ, everyone wants to sell immediately because they're
Yeah.
like, wait, what's happening? I need to get rid of this stock.
Yeah.
So some merchants would even leave that tavern quickly on a horse and ride to another meeting where they didn't know that this was happening to try to
Yeah.
sell their stock right away.
Yeah, at a lower price.
Yeah, and this is spreading all over the Netherlands.
Oh my God. It's a tulip
And
stock market crash.
yeah, basically, it's a bubble, it's a financial bubble, and it's the very first financial bubble that just burst.
Wow.
And so it's the first bubble in history that just burst in the birthplace of stock market, which was also really very, very new, which is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
So, yeah, just people lost an insane amount of money. When spring came around, the growers were owed all this money, but no one could pay because no one was able to sell, and no one's buying tulips anymore. So it went to court. It was a whole thing. Eventually, they kind of settled on like all right, well, pay me this minimal fee and stuff like that, and just the price of tulips dropped back down to normal, how they were before this whole ordeal, and that's kind of where it stayed.
So crazy.
Right? I thought
I
it was
didn't
like,
think there
oh
was,
my
I did
god.
not think there was anything this intense in the history of tulips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it's kind of the same thing that happened with the .com bubble, where everyone was buying domain name because they keep hearing that you can make a big profit on domain name,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everyone's buying domain name and trying to and selling domain name between themselves, but
Mm.
no one's actually buying a domain for themselves. And the
Mm.
same thing that this is the first time it happened here. Everyone's selling tulips in the hopes of buying tulips in the hope of selling tulips, but no one
No
can
one
afford to have
wants the
tulips at home.
tulips. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
insane. Yeah. And like, yeah, like now in this day and age, tulips just such an average flower. You're totally right. Like, when you think of like a more like expensive flower, you think of an
Hmm.
orchid or something like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would never have thought this much. Yeah, there's so
right.
much in the history of tulip.
Um, and like to think where it traveled from in like this mountainous region that was super like rough climate and
Mm-hmm.
traveled um, uh, through nomad tribes and stuff like that, and to
Mm-hmm.
eventually become the very first financial bubble in our very new um, capitalism system. It was very interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
Um, and again, to have bubbled like that and then crash completely,
Mm-hmm.
and now like they're still everywhere. They still rebirth. They come back every spring. It's still kind of symbolic of the cycle of a tulip, also,
Yeah.
right? I thought it was really cute.
That is really
Um,
cute.
and I wanted to close up a little bit the episode with the history of tulips in Canada. Because are you aware that we have a big tulip festival in like Ottawa every spring?
Yeah. Well, I know we have one here in BC too. I think it's in Abbotsford.
Oh, you do?
I think like most provinces do, right?
Possibly, but the biggest one is in Ottawa, and it's for a very
Okay.
specific reason.
Oh.
So every spring, Ottawa Gatineau comes alive with dazzling display of colorful tulips.
Mhm.
Close to 1 million of the flower blooms in the park and gardens across the capital region.
Oh wow.
Um, the tulips are part of a tradition that dates back to the Second World War and are a symbol of enduring friendship between Canada and the Netherlands.
Oh, cute. I didn't know that at all.
So, when the Netherlands were invaded during the Second World War, the Dutch princess Juliana and her family were forced to flee. And basically, the Juliana and her two young daughters set sail for Canada because we were an allied country, and they found a safe haven there. They were given a warm welcome in Ottawa, and that's where they lived throughout the entire war.
Wow. What
In
a cute little
1940,
meaning.
right? In 1943, um, the third child of Juliana, Princess Marguerite, was born in the Civic Hospital in Ottawa. Even
No way.
so, after the war, the Dutch people and the Princess Juliana expressed their thanks to Canada by sending thousands of tulip bulbs to the capital, and the gift became a yearly tradition. So every year, to this day, the Dutch royal family and the people of Netherlands send 10,000 bulbs to Ottawa.
No way. To this day.
To this day, yeah.
Wow. That's such a fun
These,
fact.
right? So the bulbs are planted in two flower beds in Ottawa, one at the Hospital Civic Campus and the other one at the Commissioner's Park. And then you have every year the festival, which is this year from May 10th to May 20th, and admission is free. There's a tulip market where you can shop from local artisans. There's movies in the park. I thought this was really cool. I kind of really want to see it. There's a blacklit boardwalk at night. So it's the only blacklit tulip gardens in the world. So they're blacklit tulips, which I don't really
Like
understand,
glow
but
in the darkish?
that's what it seems to suggest.
Yeah.
And because it says you can see the flowers like the bees and butterflies do in glowing UV spectrum with over 1,000 blooms along the boardwalk.
Oh my
I
God.
want to see that. That must be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
And
like
there's
you
also
should
like
do it. Go drive over. You're
I
close by,
know,
right? Yeah.
very close by. Yeah, it's like just an hour drive, a 2 hour drive max. And there's like a light show with music in the park and stuff like that.
Yeah. Aw, cute.
So
I love that there's such a like deep meaning behind it and the fact that it's a tradition still ongoing to this day,
I
you
know.
know?
Yeah. And it must be pretty to see like a huge fields of thousands of tulips in the bloom,
Yeah.
right? So if you're in the region, May 10th to May 20th, that's probably worth the detour.
Yeah.
And
That's so cool.
that's what I had on tulips.
That was so educational on such like a random subject, like we always do. But I love it. I feel like I have so many tulip fun facts now.
Right? I hope mom likes it too.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. You made mama proud. It's so funny when you started talking about tulips, I like Googled just like the tulip there in Google. And like one of the questions, like like those Google questions,
Yeah.
when like you ask a lot of questions to Google, I guess the most people that ask it, like like, I
Yeah, yeah,
guess
yeah.
something that's been asked a lot. And one of it's like, what does it mean when a girl sends you tulip emoji?
Oh my god.
Or like post a tulip emoji and it was like innocence and stuff like that. It was so cute. And I was like, it is so true.
Is,
Like, a girl will throw a tulip emoji to be like, oh, I'm so girly. I'm so innocent on her Instagram post.
is that what it means?
What would you think it
Okay.
means?
I
Was
don't know.
something dirty?
I thought, but I mean, any emoji that has a meaning
Yeah,
behind it is usually something dirty.
true. No, we'll keep this episode wholesome. We're not turning
Yeah,
it dirty.
that's great. All right. Well, on this note, I hope you enjoyed it, everyone, and thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you for
And we'll
tuning
see you
in.
next week.
Yeah, don't forget to tune in next week. We have something a little exciting for you all coming up as well. A different
Yes.
type of episode.
That's going to be so fun. Okay. Are we hinting at it at all or?
I think let's keep it at that. Just a different one.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have something different in store for you next week.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Ciao.
Tell Me Like I'm Stupid is created and produced by us, Sonia and Thomas. You can follow us on Instagram at Tell Me Like I'm Stupid.
If you'd like to support us, please subscribe and review on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Our cover art was created by Ish. Find him on Instagram at h.e.e.s.h.
Thank you for listening.